Olá, sejam bem-vindos a mais um episódio do MakeOne Talks. Eu sou o Harold, Chief AI Officer e o host aqui do nosso podcast. E hoje vocês devem estar percebendo que eu estou com um uniforme diferentão dos outros episódios, né? Porque eu estou aqui com os nossos parceiros da Five9, a mais nova parceria da MakeOne. Olá, Armando, tudo bem?
Tudo bem, prazer estar aqui com você.
Hello, Nick, olá!
Tudo bem, and hello, how are you?
Excelente. Bom, pessoal, a MakeOne, como vocês já sabem, é uma empresa líder de mercado em tecnologias para CX e conectividade. Na verdade, eu estou gravando esse episódio com muito orgulho após uns 2 dias depois de nós termos ganho um prêmio em Las Vegas como um dos melhores, o melhor parceiro de Latam de uma das nossas parcerias. Então a gente está super honrado de ter a nova parceria com a Five9, que eu tive a honra também de conhecer um mês atrás a sede da empresa na Baía de São Francisco, região ali perto do Vale do Silício. E eu queria começar esse episódio com o Armando, que já é prata da casa aí, né, Armando? Tem quanto tempo de parceria aí, entre idas e vindas com a Telesul antigamente, agora a MakeOne?
São muitos anos, muitas histórias, é um prazer estar aqui com vocês. Na verdade, isso é um sonho feito realidade. A gente voltar para casa.
Pô, que legal, que legal. Conta um pouco da história, cara, porque eu e o Armando, a gente se conheceu recentemente, quando começou a parceria, e a gente teve um fit muito interessante.
Vou falar um pouco de quem eu sou, depois eu conto um pouco da história, né? Meu nome, como você falou, Armando Trivelato. Eu comecei lá no nosso querido Inatel, né? E telecom, minha carreira de telecom começou em telecom, lá no Inatel.
Legal.
Depois a TIT, Lucent, Avaya, Poli. Eu saí do Brasil em 98 para ir viver em Miami, gerenciar uma região para TIT lá em Miami. Depois eu fui para a Espanha, completei minha educação executiva no IMD na Suíça e também na Califórnia, em Stanford. E agora na Five9. Agora eu sou vice-presidente da Five9 para Iberoamérica, região que é Portugal, Espanha. Ela vai crescendo aí, trabalhando junto com o Nick. E toda a América Latina, ou seja, tudo de Miami para baixo é a região de interesse nosso.
De todas as escolas que você falou, Inatel acho que é a mais top.
É onde a gente aprendeu o mais importante.
Exatamente. Exatamente. Não, mas eu sou fã do IMD, eu acompanho muito trabalho lá. Fala um pouquinho da experiência lá, cara. Eu sempre sonhei assim em estudar lá.
Olha, quando a minha carreira progressou rápido, eu tive muita sorte, o mercado desregulou e abriu para as empresas internacionais.
Você estava lá no momento.
Faltava engenheiro no Brasil e eu estava no lugar certo, na hora certa.
Perfeito.
Então, escalou muito rápido, eu tive a possibilidade de ir para direção da empresa, em empresas muito grandes, empresas que te educam realmente, que pagam a tua educação executiva. Mas foi em 2004, quando eu já tinha gente de Harvard, de Thunderbird, trabalhando para mim, que eu falei, olha, eu preciso de alguma coisa a mais. Eu preciso de ver um pouco como vai o negócio, sabe? A parte de operação, de execução, porque a gente vai subindo, vai ficando longe do campo, né? Das coisas que você mais gosta. Eu gosto de gente, então eu trabalho com vendas também, mas eu trabalho principalmente com gente. E aí eu descobri o IMD na Suíça e assim, a última vez que eu tinha estudado para valer era lá no Inatel, no sul de Minas, você conhece bem.
Sim.
E aí eu fui para Lausanne, que é uma cidadezinha nas margens do Lake Léman, ali, e é um pouco diferente, sabe? Eu cheguei lá...
Um pouco diferente.
É um pouco diferente. Mas o código de área é o mesmo do Rio de Janeiro, porque eu sou mineiro do Rio de Janeiro, né? Então, eu cheguei lá, o código de área é 21... Tava verão, todo mundo de biquíni, era uma praia danada. Eu falei, pô, mas isso aqui é uma maravilha. Um mês depois estava um frio do caramba. O bar que fecha mais tarde, fecha meia-noite. O supermercado fecha às 6 da tarde.
Nossa.
Mas eu descobri esse lado, eu adoro aprender, e é um lado onde a educação de altíssimo nível. Era o centro de treinamento da Nestlé. Eles fizeram um spin-off, virou o IMD com as principais indústrias suíças, ou seja, as empresas pagam imposto lá, investindo em educação. Legal. e você tem acesso a coisas incríveis. O meu grupo do IMD era um grupo que tinha uma média de idade de 42 anos, eu ainda era mais jovem do que eu sou hoje, ainda era muito jovem, na verdade foi, sabe, aprender alguns conceitos que eu não sabia, algumas matrizes para você aplicar, mas aprender também do seu colega que está do teu lado, que teve 15 anos já de experiência em alguma empresa, em algum mercado incrível. Então foi algo que mudou a minha vida, realmente. Eu recomendo muito. Educação é um privilégio e é um prazer, realmente.
Não, legal. Eu queria aproveitar e deixar a dica para o pessoal mais jovem que está nos escutando. O lance da faculdade, na minha opinião, não é tanto a faculdade. É primeiro o networking que a gente faz na faculdade, mas também a abertura de porta que ela dá para um próximo nível de educação, como a educação executiva. Porque mudou minha vida, eu fiz Dom Cabral, cara, teve um impacto profundo, assim, você teve no IMD. Realmente esse próximo estágio de educação, quando você já é um profissional, já está crescendo na carreira, te leva para um outro patamar mesmo, né? Então, lifelong learning
incrível.
É um core, né? Do sucesso dos grandes executivos. Legal, Armando. E agora, Five9, cara. Explica o que é Five9 e o peso da marca.
Bom, a gente é líder no mercado de Customer Experience, tá? A gente é líder no mercado de Cloud Contact Center. O que eu costumo dizer é que o que a gente faz é agregar plataformas numa plataforma plana, onde a gente, desde o momento antes da chamada, seja ela por voz, seja ela por algum canal digital, tipo WhatsApp ou qualquer canal, entrar até depois que ela terminou e você completar aquilo, com várias diferentes etapas. Eu acho que a gente vai falar mais em profundidade aí, mas voz é uma dessas etapas, mas a gente fala de integração, como é que trabalha isso com o mundo de CRM, com o mundo de comunicações unificadas, com o mundo de automação de força, de vendas, de estudo da qualidade desses serviços, chegando até os robôs, os agentes virtuais e o que está para vir. Sabe, porque o que é hoje provavelmente não vai ser amanhã. Então a plataforma tem que ser muito fácil de integrar, muito maleável, muito flexível. O nome Five9, ele vem de muito tempo do mercado, porque eu já levo alguns anos nesse mercado, e tem muitos anos que eu falo que as plataformas têm que ter 5 nines of reliability, ou seja, 5 9 de confiabilidade. E é daí que vem o nosso nome, a empresa é incrível. Eu peguei essa visão. Na verdade, a gente se conheceu quando eu estava mostrando para o Nick o mercado de Madrid. Eu estava apresentando para ele os clientes e ele disse para mim assim: você vai trabalhar para mim. Aí eu falei assim: que é isso? Eu não estou para vender, eu não estou para a venda. E no final do dia ele estava trabalhando para ele. Então, assim, é uma visão de... A gente tem uma plataforma de ruptura com o que existe no mercado. E o mercado está se adequando e se mobilizando para onde a gente está, onde a gente tem essa liderança. A minha visão foi fazer, porque eu já tinha tido a oportunidade, daí que vem o meu conhecimento e o que a gente fez com a Telesul, a gente já teve a oportunidade de fazer isso antes com outra marca. E o que eu visualizo é a gente poder fazer isso aqui no mercado de CX de novo.
Legal. Bom, pessoal, a história do Armando aí, um executivo de referência no setor, mas a gente tem que integrar o nosso outro colega aqui, né, Armando? Para não dominar essa conversa.
Paga o salário.
And now we're gonna switch to English, so I can introduce our another guest, Nick. Nice to meet you, Nick.
Harold, thank you so much for having me. Okay, I thought for sure that I had to speak Portuguese right now. So I was preparing in my head to speak Portuguese, and I don't think obrigado and muito obrigado is going to cut it. So,
I don't think so either.
So I think right now I'm glad we're in English.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having us, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, that's
great to have you as a partner.
Oh, thanks so much. MakeOne is really excited about this partnership. We really believe in what Five9 is doing. I love the brand, and when I realized what the name was all about, because I studied in Inatel just like Armando. So we hear about like the reliability, and the improvement of the systems and telecom. telecom is a very like foundational technology for where we are right now. You know, the internet, you know, it's all because of us, the telecommunication engineers. No? It's our fault, you know, and it's amazing. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, and you're right. The foundation does come from there. You know, the first thing I learned in any time we were in technology was reliability was number one.
Yeah.
And, you know, Five9's reliability was the standard. And thank God I work for a company named Five9 today. A little bit about my background is I've spent about 30 years in the technology industry. So I've done everything from ERP systems, CRM systems, you know, telecommunication, you know, from the PBX side of things to contact centers to you name it. And I've been lucky enough to be able to share my knowledge as a business owner too. So I started a business years ago, and it just seems like forever, where I had a telecommunications and, you know, a consultative company that focused on premise-based solutions.
Okay.
And I had it in California, as well as did business out in the Middle East, got there as Dubai and, you know, in the Emirates. And it was really fun, but I saw something very interesting. I saw that trend happening to the cloud like pretty early on.
Okay.
And those were the early days of Salesforce. I remember it wasn't called Dreamforce back in the day. So the first one that I went to, and I don't even remember the name actually. That's how long it's been. But the first one was the first one, and it was just a few people around the table. I'm like, oh, we got to definitely integrate to that because that's the future. And really, as you see it today, in the 30 years that I've been doing this, there's been this great transformation. So today I'm the senior international vice president of Five9 for, you know, all our growth, helping all the different markets around the world expand, as well as get to do the most fun thing that I love to do, which is meet with executives around the world. So I start to.
That's awesome.
It's phenomenal because, you know, if you look at most corporations, they probably have a president of Europe and a president of LATAM and, you know, and a president of the US and, you know, all that. It's all segmented. My role, I get to spend time with executives in each of those markets and be able to compare and contrast what those trends, the technologies, all the different things that they're doing around the world to be able to improve customer experience. And for me, it's a passion. It is absolutely my passion. It's everything from, you know, I've done little podcasts where I talk about my chocolate experiment. And the chocolate experiment is, you know, when I walk onto an airplane, I always bring a box of chocolates for the flight attendants. And it's so great to see, and sometimes the pilots too, but it's so great to see the reaction that you get, and it varies. It's amazing. Some are so surprised to see, you know, somebody brought them something. But, you know, flight attendants probably have one of the hardest jobs in the world. They deal with so many diverse personalities. Yeah. And every once in a while, it's okay to just, you know, bring something nice and say, thank you, you know, appreciate what you're doing, even if it's the first time flying that airline. But it's amazing to see those reactions. And it's also amazing to see what the different levels of customer experience are based on positive reinforcement.
Yep.
And sometimes it matters and sometimes it doesn't. So that is one of my big passions. And being able to speak with those executives around the world is giving me such an enlightening view. When I talk to a bank in the UK versus a bank in Germany versus a bank in Spain versus one in Canada versus one in the US versus, you know, all around Latin America, you get to see these different perspectives and the different technologies that everybody's using and what that end goal looks like. And I got to tell you, the one great thing that I see is there's this great trend that is going around. And I have top 5 predictions that I'm going to share with you today of 2025. And if you're ready to hear them, I'll tell you all about them.
Oh, yes, we're ready to hear it. I just want to add something to what you mentioned with your chocolate experiment is that when we're designing customer journey, it's always good to have like this positive reinforcements because, you know, memory is all about emotion. Mm-hmm. And when people get like excited, they're going to remember better the experience. So for the brands that work with us and other brands that are listening, always try to do even like a small thing, just like a box of chocolate. That positive reinforcement can remind the customer from, you know, that moment, and it can make a huge difference for the brand, you know. That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
It really can. You know, there was one interesting thing that I saw. I was on a flight to Greece, and we did the chocolate experience, and it was with a flight attendant from one of the major U.S. carriers, based out of Atlanta, that I'm a diamond member of. No names will be mentioned. Okay. But I was able to pull the flight attendant aside. I go, wow, you have a really diverse crowd here today, you know, from attitudes, because we were running a little bit late, and, you know, and I had my kids on there and, you know, all that stuff. So there was a lot of commotion. And I said, so how do you feel about, you know, the different levels here? She goes, well, you made my day. You made my day. And I said, well, how did I make your day? She goes, it's really rare that somebody recognizes a great experience, or, you know, it's almost like a gamification, right? But it's, I don't like to think of it that way, but it almost is, where you reward somebody for something great that they did, but she didn't do anything great yet. Yep. And there was a gentleman that was sitting in front that, you know, I got little kids, so they were kicking the chairs and stuff like that. I go, see, that's the one thing that happens, and that's why I reward you, because you have to deal with these types of situations. And she goes, you know, most of the times that we deal with rough CX experiences are because somebody lost a loved one, or there's an adversity in their life. Yep. And that is one of the biggest drivers of poor experience for the flight attendants, is that they have to see these different things and look at it. And that's why I always look at the customer experience as such an open, you know, area, and it's such a great area to improve on. It's not just about technology.
Yep.
It's about the great empathy. It's about the, you know, the training the people in the right ways. And then the technology really boosts that, you know, that's right where I come up with my predictions.
Yes. So feel free.
All right. So I got my top 5 predictions for 2025.
Okay.
Right
around the corner.
Right around the corner.
It's not 2030 vision.
I'm a little early, because usually everybody likes to do a fourth quarter, but I already see this happening. Okay. So I talked about one thing, which was the AI 2023 was the year of learning. So it was the year of disaster, sometimes I would call it.
Wow, yeah.
You know, things like airlines that had their bots, you know, take over and change their policies and do all sorts of crazy things. Now it's become something that's a really big part of the CX experience. So I believe AI is going to continue to evolve. I think we all do. That's huge. I don't believe that AI is positioned to replace all the agents, you know, like some of the Wall Street analysts talk about. You know, there's this, you know, this vision or this thesis, if you want to call it, that AI is going to replace all the agents around the world. I don't think that that's possible right now, because there's so many areas that need to be looked at. There's governance, there's empathy, there's all these different areas. And look at, you know, if you're not governing right, it changes your policies on the fly because it's learning. So there's a need for, you know, being able to have human interactions with the digital interactions with artificial intelligence. So where I believe the next step here is that the level of learning and the level of help that artificial intelligence and large language models and generative AI go to is being able to provide the intelligence to the agents at a next level, the intelligence to the business at a next level, and be able to predict customer behavior to help the business and everything give that 360-degree communication that is needed to bring a great CX. So that is my number one prediction.
Okay, can I add something to that?
Like absolutely, you can.
This week, we just heard the news, I don't know if you heard it, that McDonald's was pushing back on their strategy to have AI on their drive-thrus. Mm-hmm. So, you know, on the screen panels, they used to have people talking, then they replaced it by AI, and it didn't work. It had like so many wrong like orders and so on. So they pushed back the project. It was a 2-year project that really fell apart, you know, because I really believe in what you're saying. Like, there's so many pieces right now. It's easy for us as B2C users, let's say, to use ChatGPT and have a great experience for the daily things. Mm-hmm. But when you go into a corporate environment, you need to like direct the AI into your particular needs. And sometimes your data is all like messed up, you know, and you don't have enough content to provide a great customer experience, or you don't have your customer service tickets closed or evaluated if they were good calls or not. So all this kind of like spoils the opportunity that you have right now with AI. So I'm really looking forward to this trend that you mentioned. And those are the challenges that I've been seeing with our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do have a great McDonald's story for CX. So I don't frequent McDonald's often. I went through a health journey that over the last couple of years to really kind of to take care of myself a little bit more. And I was in Cartagena. I was at BIPRO, which is one of the big shows in Cartagena for all the BPOs. And next to me was sitting Hector Orozco, who is the managing director in Colombia for McDonald's. And I have a really bad seafood allergy, shellfish and seafood. And we're in Cartagena. And the great news is they had probably the best seafood and shellfish sitting right in front of me. But unfortunately, I have a pretty bad allergy. I'm like, that's okay. You know, I haven't eaten all day. It's all right. And I didn't know who he was. And I said, man, I could really use a Big Mac right now. And he goes, I'm the managing director of Colombia. And I said, what? And he gets on his phone. He orders Big Macs and drinks and fries and all that stuff, you know, things I shouldn't be eating. But at the time, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
You can't get that level of support with AI. That customer experience that was provided right there was the personal
that insights, like
it's personal predictive analytics.
Yes.
You can't get that with AI because it's not there. And it brought me to this level. And here I am on your podcast talking about this great experience that McDonald's provides, you know, after they've had a failed AI mission.
Yep.
And that I think is you can't beat that. And that's why I don't think that all agents will be replaced by AI.
Yep.
That's one big reason.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What is the second trend?
Data.
They
can't do this without data.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've talked to a lot of banks around the world and the BPOs, which service the banks and, you know, and retailers and everything else. One of the hardest things to make sure that you have is clean data. Dirty data gives you dirty results. And, you know, and you
garbage in, garbage out.
In, garbage out. I think we did, it's like FIFO, right? First out, garbage in, garbage out. So that alone is something that needs to be looked at. The data strategies need to be in place before you think about this grand vision. It's not just about a couple guys in the back room, you know, programming ChatGPT and thinking that you're going to get the AI experience.
Yeah, and people don't realize, like, they saw ChatGPT coming out and everybody went nuts and all this, but OpenAI is working on this for like 8 years. Mm-hmm. You know, GPT-2 was a big flop. GPT-3 was a better experiment for developers. It took them 8 years to get where they are, you know? And now people want to, like, on the next month, turn the key and, I have my own GPT, which is amazing. No.
It just doesn't work like that. Yeah. You know, if you look at Five9 as an organization, we purchased Inference, which is our IVA technology, for almost 5 years ago. So we've been playing in this game for 4 or 5 years, where we've used that as like the center point to be able to control all the different communications that we want to do around and integrate to different pieces of AI. But there was an interesting strategy that Jonathan Rosenberg took, which I really love. If you look at it, and Mike Birkeland, our CEO, said this, which is, if you look at AI, it's like the jet engines, right? The jet engines on an airplane. I can't strap those jet engines on the back of my back, I was just in Peru yesterday, flying all the way here to Sao Paulo. Yeah. I can't strap them on and just go fly over. It's impossible. I mean, it sounds really great. It would be amazing. Maybe AI can help that, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
So if you look at it,
that's a great metaphor.
It is a great metaphor. And if you look at the fuselage, it is all the technology that goes behind it. The routing, the WFO, the people that go behind it, the implementation service, all those things are the fuselage. And here's something really interesting. I'm a huge airplane buff, so Mike's analogy rang really well with me. So I sit at the airport sometimes and I stare and I look to see what the airplanes are. And, you know, one might have a General Electric engine. The other one might have a Pratt & Whitney engine. The other one might have, you know, a Rolls-Royce engine, right? Rolls-Royce. And if you look at it, you see the different engines there. Now imagine being able to take those engines and just doing a pull down so you can analyze, you know, any different AI technology. The new ones, the old ones, whatever it happens to be that's out there. So we're really future-proofing our solution. We're not sticking to one engine. we're sticking to the ability to be able to transform as the industry transforms. And that alone is, I think, one of the biggest indicators. With the right data, with the right ability to be able to transform and be able to future-proof your solution. And not all the vendors are doing that. They maybe take one position and go one way. But that to me is a big area. So that was number 2. Clean data, good data, and the ability to be future-proof and have the right analysis tools to be able to make decisions for your business.
Yeah, we were discussing during lunch, right, Armando? You gave an example of one of the customers you were talking to, and the challenge with data and so on. You want to contribute?
In English or in
English?
Portuguese?
English.
Okay, so I think, as Nick was saying, part of 2023, we identified very early in this journey that we need a single data repository, right? That was the first challenge. So, and then how do you go with that? Because the bigger you are as a conglomerate, as a company, the worse it is in terms of how secure you want your data and how much you want to share with the other divisions. So you take huge organizations and they defend these areas very, very, very strong. So the first thing is to get, and there's a lot of money in the market, it's still there. These projects take 2-3 years just to make a decision on where we're going to place it, behind what firewalls, what is the security level I want there, and where, and then how do you access this data? So those are very important decisions. And to use the plane analogy again, if you take the wrong plane, you need to take a plane back to go to the starting point. So that was, and it still is, a big challenge for no matter who you are on the implementation of AI. The other thing that I'm a firm believer, and I was talking during lunch, is that everybody has AI top of mind. With the industry have been talking about it for, we've been talking about it for 3 years at least. And as Nick was mentioning, the ability to change what's best for you is number one for me, especially because if you want to implement a technology, you should look at easy ways to do it. Marginal gains. Don't change everything at the same time because you might destroy the plane.
Yes.
So you just try to get 1-2%. Let's look at how do we improve customer satisfaction. Let's put the customer in the middle. Some people don't want to be treated the same way of other people. So it's a question of choice and what's best for your business, but also how fast can you go to market with it.
Yep.
The small change can make a big difference.
I have a friend who always says, you don't start with the neurosurgery. Like a brain transplant. You're not going to do that. That's not going to be AI's first role.
Yes.
That would be bad.
Yeah,
So
horrible. And also, coming back to the plane metaphor, if you need to come back with the plane because you took the wrong plane, as Armando mentioned, and you get out of fuel, you're gonna kill the customer experience, on this flight.
Yeah, And if you don't have that real time vision, which is a little bit further down on my hit list of top 5, if you don't have that real time vision to be able to see what's going on, you can tank your business. It's something that's really important that needs to be looked at, that needs to be, looked at real time, not and historically, but real time more than anything else.
So let's move further down in the list
To number 3.
Yeah.
Number 3. All right. So personalization.
Okay. Awesome.
So I'm going to take it in 2 different ways. So there's the personalized channels of the choice of the customer, and there's the information that is provided to the agents in the business to be able to help bring a great experience.
Okay.
As an example, let's go into the financial industry. So you call your bank. They know everything about you. It might be in 100 different systems, but they know everything about you. And they know how much money I have. They know where I spend my money. They know if I have loans with them. They know if I have car loans with them. They know if I have insurance with them, if they have to do that. So why would the agent try to upsell you on a savings plan or annuity plan or a stock program or something if you already have it? The unawareness of an agent brings a totally bad experience, and I've had that happen multiple times.
I hate that, man.
Hate it.
I usually get calls from my home phone provider to sell me the same lane.
Yeah.
They come to me like, hey Harold, I saw you're a good customer profile. Would you like to move to our landline? I was like, I'm already your customer. Why you're calling me back?
Let's call those guys and go make some sales.
Yeah.
And the cable providers are probably the ones that I always look at. If I talk about U.S. because I live there and I also live in Madrid, so I get to compare and contrast a little bit how that looks. If you look at the cable providers, they know you have an outage. They have that information proactively. Why wouldn't they proactively communicate to you? That personalizes the experience. And then when you do call in, the first thing that they should know is there is an outage in my area. And don't try to upsell me during the outage.
No, let me tell you a sad story on customer experience. So I had a premature baby in December 2022. Okay. And the first feedback that we got from our health insurance was that they weren't gonna cover the labor and the ICU. That's their first automatic response.
So empathetic, right?
Yeah.
Great empathy.
The health. You're taking care of my health. Can you imagine that? So I needed to work on some documents with the doctors and the hospitals and so on. And it was like a huge bill, The baby would need to spend at least 22 days on the ICU.
Yeah.
That's a huge bill.
Huge.
Yeah. So it took them 10 days to approve. Then they approved the procedure. Okay. Then a few months later, my wife came to me and she had an issue called placenta abruption, and the risk for having it again is 70%. So I went back to the health insurance plan and I asked, hey, I need to do my surgery so I don't risk having other babies to put my wife and my baby on risk again. Right? Obvious.
God forbid that was the right thing to say.
Yeah. In my perspective, they have all this information from me. They should proactively offer me the surgery because it's a health and a death case situation. It took them 10 months to approve my surgery, and I'll be doing 1 year later. I made the request because there was 10 months of approval. Now 2 months to get the hospital and everything set and all this. Man, I didn't got one email to ask how my baby was, or to celebrate birthday, because they know when he was born. Why not? Now let me not pay the health insurance for 1 day. I missed the payday. Yeah, it's nuts, man.
No, it's amazing, and it's I think it's a global issue. There are some great CX experiences around that too.
Course.
But I believe more than not that is the situation you get. And I hate to pick on what I consider part of my home country right now, which is in Spain, and I think the CX experience is horrible. The personalization is even worse.
Yep.
It's not empathetic. It's not timely. It's first call resolution is like hitting the lottery. You have a better chance to hit the lottery than first call resolution. I'm just telling you. And don't try to get an appointment. Oh, forget it. So private healthcare is the way to go. But anyway, so that's the one side of things, which is looking at that part of the experience. The other is the channels. So the personalized channels, and I call it not omni-channel anymore. It's opti-channel.
Okay.
It is optimal channel for me.
Okay. Awesome.
Now, somebody stole money out of my account. I do not want to talk to a bot. I do not want to talk to an IVR or even an IVA for that matter. I might be okay with getting to the first thing, but the second that they know that I had money stolen out of my account, I want a live agent there being empathetic with me and letting me know that everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just a little old fashioned, but there's, I had to book a trip from Peru to come here to Sao Paulo, which by the way is my second favorite place to be.
Awesome.
My family's Greek, so Greece is my first. So
Okay.
So number 2 is not bad in this case. So I had to book a flight. Well, I had booked a flight to Colombia with this airline, and I'm like, okay, I need some help. There were no phone numbers. There were no ways to contact them, but you could use their bot, and their bot was horrible.
Yep.
It was like the worst thing ever. Like, are you guys out of your mind? I spend a lot of money traveling. This is the worst experience I've ever seen. Oh, press 1, and then you had to wait. Oh, press 1 because you have to wait longer, and press 1, you have to wait longer. I'm like, oh, what is this? Forget it. You can't change anything with that. That is the part of working the right channel for the right person. For me, I like to use certain digital channels at a certain time. I love bots. Bots are great.
Yep.
You can get things done pretty quickly, and there's some that are very fantastic. But if you're not going to implement the right strategy for Opti-channel, to know that I like a certain channel and I like to communicate that way and I want quick response and all the things that go with it, then just stick to what you know, which is providing maybe one channel or two channels, and be very open about it and try to provide the best experience you can.
Yeah, I always use the example of Nubank, which I just found out it's one of Five9's customers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So what I like about it is that when I look at it, it's kind of like a uni-channel experience. You have their app. And their app is where you do everything. You talk to their chat, to their agents, to their bot. Everything is inside the app. So, that's the best place to go. If I have any issue, I'm probably, when I see a problem in my bank, it's probably on the app bank, right?
Yeah.
That's the place where I'm interacting with the brand, so I can know I have any issues. So I go there and I solve the problem, And I think that's they're really like the standard, in my opinion, here in Brazil. And you mentioned something that is quite interesting. I just moved to the top level of one of the airlines here in Brazil in the loyalty program, and now I have the best customer experience ever because I call. There are 3 options. You need to change your flight, you need to do something else that I can remember, or you want to talk to an agent. When I click talk to an agent, it doesn't take like 5 seconds, because now inside their system, I'm like up in the scale because I'm like the top guy on the loyalty program. That's an amazing experience, man. And they're always solving my problem. And I probably don't get like an N1 level, like level 1. I probably get a level 2 or level 3 maybe, because the guys always solve. They always solve. They don't come with an excuse, That's amazing.
Yeah, for a person who travels a lot, it's pretty interesting because I'm top tier with a few airlines, and it's great to compare and contrast the different programs. And there are 2 major U.S. carriers that I use, and one of them I'm in their invite only program, which is above their top tier. It's their kind of their special program. And it's the same thing. They proactively know. And recently there was a canceled flight and all sorts of things. And not only did they proactively notify me, but they proactively rebooked me, knowing proactively what seats I like, knowing that this experience needed to be a certain way. And it wasn't like I had to call them and tell them, hey, I have a meeting tomorrow. They know if I'm traveling because I have business and I have to get to somewhere. And that's a great experience.
Amazing.
So, but that's the personalization we're looking for. Predictive personalization.
Exactly. And that's the power of data.
Yeah. It is the
Which
power
is
of data.
your second
They go
item.
hand in hand.
Exactly.
And honestly, it's almost funny because it's not even AI really that powers that. It's just good
simple,
data. It's simple, simple looking. The flight got canceled. I know about it. Nick likes this. He wants this meal. Make sure that you have, a bottle of water, and don't bother him if it's an overnight flight. Make sure that you let him sleep. It's really simple. And I'll bring you chocolates. So it works really good. Back to the chocolate experiment. So those are the top 3 so far. The next one is working from home. So we are still seeing post-pandemic a lot of companies still having people work from home.
Yep.
Here's a great example. We went to your office here today, in Sao Paulo, and the office was pretty empty. There's a balance between, but what this does is it's kind of interesting. This is a great people experience.
Did you know, Nick, that we in Brazil, we call it home office.
Yes.
Bringing from like the English, but in the US, they don't speak home office, guys. They speak work from home, which is
Home
funny.
office.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And there's so many great terms, from different areas
Yeah,
too.
it is.
But the home office, type of situation here, there's a balance. It's a balance of great, abilities for your family, so you can build your family relationship while improving the business experience. Yes. And then the other side of things, it also cuts down on traffic, pollution. There's a lot of green that goes with it too. Yep. But we are seeing still a lot more, I'll call it work from home type of environments. And that's still a trend that's occurring. It's happening in the BPOs. I see it happen in the financial industry. If you go to your bank nowadays, there's just a skeleton crew that's usually in there. If you look at retail, retail is kind of a skeleton crew running the business. I worked in retail years ago. We had a lot more people running the floors, and nowadays it's like you're lucky to find somebody. But there's great technology that goes behind that too, and improved experiences. We have one of the big pharmaceutical companies. They're actually a retailer, a pharmaceutical distributor, as well as a healthcare provider, and they're the biggest one, I believe, in the U.S., if not top two, and insurance provider too. And part of their vision was you go into the retail store, you have people there, but you can actually bring the experience to life by having a contact center agent there. You can scan the barcode, it brings it into the contact center. You maybe get an expert on a certain area, tell you which ibuprofen is better for your situation, whatever it happens to be. And that's a next level of, technology. But look at that. You can have work from home agents being able to do that.
Well,
you're not staffing in the store. So what does that do? You have lot of things and a lot of benefits, and it brings in great, you have customer experience and NPS for the outside. It's kind of like NPS for the inside.
Yep.
Your net promoter score.
Is there EX and ENPS, like employee experience, employee NPS, and so on. Yeah.
And it's huge. So I'm still seeing a lot of that. And that's a conversation that's happening around the world too. And then finally, real-time analytics. So you got the data, you got the AI, you got the personalization, people working from home. You really need to have the real-time analytics for the customer, for the agent, and for the business, so that you can make real-time decisions right now. That's why, once again, it goes back to data warehousing too, but analyzing that data and learning from what's going on, proactively learning from what's going on. So if you look, Five9 has now coined the phrase, the new CX platform. Okay, so the new CX platform, and I don't want to botch this, so I'm going to look it up because we literally just released it. Transformed by AI and powered by Five9.
Awesome.
It's a great, powerful statement.
Yes.
Because you're using all the big pieces, and analyzing the data and learning from what's going on here proactively is a real key to be able to bring a good business experience.
Yeah, and I think we need to reinforce the fact that for the customer, AI came to mind in November 2022 with the launch of ChatGPT and so on. But we're kind of narrowing down AI into just Gen AI, which is not actually the case. AI has so many capabilities. It's been around our lives for decades now. Google itself it's an example of an AI practice. So we need to make sure that real-time analytics, it's pretty much grounded on AI capabilities, but different kinds of AI that's not exactly Gen AI, and that's something really important to reinforce to our audience.
Right. And I don't want to go the path of the article that we talked about earlier, but is it really AI? Or is it just really quick searching,
exactly,
and really quick analysis, and really quick, putting together and you said the best words, which were, I'm not going to steal your words.
Retrieval?
The transcribe, the transcription.
What was it again?
Oh my gosh!
Come
it
on, man.
was so good. It was such a great lunch. We had such a great thing. But but you're not programming anymore.
Yep.
It's the narrative
The
science.
narrative science.
Narrative science, exactly.
Narrative science, and that to me is something incredible. It is it is something that is going to balance out. So we'll call it AI for now. It sounds really great.
Yep.
According to this article, that maybe 50 years from now, they're going to laugh at us and say, these guys thought this was AI, but this is AI.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's what learning is all about. And I believe that those 5 things that we talked about, which is AI really, coming to its own in 2025. The data, warehousing, making sure you have that intelligent decision, bringing the channel of choice, to the customer, giving them their opti channel, and bringing that personalized experience to play. Working from home is still going to be a thing, going on, and then finally getting that great real-time analytics.
Yeah, I saw this amazing demo that Frank showed me when I was visiting the HQ, where you had like the talk and summaries for the agents, like real-time summaries and insights for the agent. This is amazing, man.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And it brings that intelligent agent. Back in the day, I used to, this is my talk track like 5 years ago. Back in the day, I used to talk about the $5 agent, because that's back there, the wage was a little bit lower, and making them a $50 agent. Maybe now it's not, maybe we economies of scale, it's a little bit more. But what you're doing is really, you're making that agent more intelligent.
Yep.
You're also making
amplified intelligence.
Amplified intelligence.
What we say
Also
here
good.
in
Man, we're going to
MakeOne.
coin a lot of good phrases here today. So, that is one of the huge areas I believe that that's going to make a difference.
Awesome. So, Armando, you have a great challenge, is to position Five9 in the LATAM. Let's focus on LATAM and Brazil, because MakeOne has its footprint in the region. What are the challenges that you see on our market?
First and foremost, I would say we started, let's say 8 to 10 years ago. Okay, so Five9 was born in 23 years ago, and we started in LATAM about 10 years ago. We have a market share. We actually have an interesting penetration in terms of the Brazilian market. But very fast I realized that I needed centers of excellence, so I moved one of them to be in Mexico. So Mexico is one. South America, apart from Brazil, is led by Colombia, and then I put center of excellence here in Brazil. Okay, so it's not really so much the challenge we have, but the challenge the market has, right? So how fast are people willing to open up? Like Nick explained, like I did in Portuguese in the beginning, we're a platform that we aggregate best practices in the industry. So if you're using ChatGPT, I'll use that. If you're using Watson from IBM, I'm going to use that. Whatever you learned and you connected with, I'll be there. So today we look at people, processes, and the platform and the technology. And it's really how you take what you're doing today and we study, because I said you need incremental gains, but you also need to look at your business. The transformation that is happening is how we treat customers. How are companies treating the customer of their customer? Not the supermarket, but the people that buy in that supermarket. How do I get there, and how do I gain market share, and how do I generate those great experiences to those customers? And we're in the center of this transformation, because as we were discussing, you decide the channel you want to use, right? So I need to be able to deal with this channel. But this channel needs to be the best channel for that time as well. So there's some process and some education, either for the company itself or even some learning from customers required there. So it's a choice. But if you decide to continue with the wrong channel, let's say I want voice all the time, but I'm not the top tier in that airline, I'm going to wait for 30 minutes. You know? So maybe you want to learn a different process here, and it does work as well. So it's about the experience. It's about having the same experience no matter where you are. If you call, if you go on the web, if you get into my store, even the smell you have when you get into a particular store is associated with that brand. Can't get that from the internet, but I can get a lot of other things in the same way. So it's the same treatment, unified for the best customer experience. Right now, I think if I look at the Latin American market, there is a big push, depending on the industry as well, in terms of moving from on-prem to the cloud.
Okay.
powered by changes that happen, like security. You want more and more security. Security is number one
Yep.
in the industry right now because of hijacking my system. If you can wreck me, if people can wreck the Pentagon, they can wreck pretty much everything. So it's top of line there. So we are looking into how flexible you can be. So if you start small, do I have enough money to pay for that security that only big data can afford? And in our case, yes. So flexibility, innovation. Am I going to be getting into this and taking the plane to the right place? So every time, if you're in a platform that is maintained and kept at the same level of upgrade all the time, you don't need to worry about that. So that's another challenge I'd see in the industry. And then reliability. That's number one. You need to be always reliable and always on. So if you are in need of something like your health insurance case, you can get the response at that time. So I think those are pretty much the main challenges for the market. But I don't think it's really a challenge. I think it's a huge opportunity.
Awesome. I like this entrepreneurial spirit from Armando, right? Yeah.
I think he was a good hire. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too.
You're pretty good at that, right?
You're good in talent acquisition, man.
I'm not too bad. If I can add a couple things too.
Sure.
If you look at the investments that we at Five9 are making internationally to expand, they're huge. From 2022 to 2023, we actually made a 74% increase in our international investment.
Wow.
And it's going to go up this year too. So
Wow.
I'm not going to share because we're a public company and, but I got to tell you, I know that we're putting a lot more investment in it because we firmly believe in the markets that we're in. And if you look at the Latin American market, like we said, the infrastructure that we put here in Brazil, huge. In Latin America, huge people and process and partners and everything that we need to do it. We went from when I started, we had very few international employees, like I would say less than 200. And probably even less than that. I'll just call it 200 for now.
Okay.
And right now, outside of the U.S., we have 1,100 employees.
Wow.
1,100 employees, and I've been doing the international game for our company shared, right? So it was two pieces. It was I was doing strategic, a little bit of the U.S. and then the international, and now I'm focused primarily on the international market.
Okay.
So in just the 2 years, we've even doubled the people that we put out here. So that investment is so huge, but it goes into a lot of areas. That's why we're growing at a double-digit growth, about 28% year-over-year growth.
Wow.
So we're continually growing. If you look, the pandemic obviously gave us this boost. It was really great to see that. But the reality of it is we're doing awesome. The 28% growth is going to continue to go well because we are a SaaS company. We do retain our customers. We do grow our customers, and we grow our partner ecosystem and everything else that's going with it. So the continued investment that we are making internationally is going to see us propelled to the top. And if you talk to analysts like Gartner and you talk to Frost and Sullivan and all those folks, I think that not only are they impressed with the technology, but the footprint that we have too, and how we've approached the market. And it's exciting to be number one in that.
Just to add, on
self-proclaimed a little bit, but I like it. I call it
not really self-proclaimed, because if you look at Gartner, we're in the Magic Quadrant, okay, and if you look at Frost and Sullivan, we won the innovation prize for LATAM this year in the beginning of the year. So it's not only our opinion. We're like,
and I always like to reinforce the aspect that when you're dealing or working with the original thinker, the chance of more disruption coming from the original thinker, it's much bigger. And the CCAS, if you go to Gartner to find Five9, you're going to go to the CCAS session, right? And Five9 coined the term CCAS, basically, right? So imagine this, the company started like 23 years ago in the cloud. Like what was the cloud back then?
Yeah, it was amazing because I competed with Five9. These guys are in the cloud.
They're
what are
in
we
the
gonna
cloud.
do? We're not in the cloud.
What is the cloud?
I'm gonna sell my farm.
There's no cloud here. There's no cloud
There's
in
no cloud. Five9's a cloud.
Yeah, and it's funny that like the cloud movement started in San Francisco, which is very cloudy, right?
It's true. That is a very good point. It's very good. It's always cloudy up there.
Yeah.
And cold.
And so I always think that when you're dealing with the original thinker, it has this ability to think original ideas, you know. And when Armando explains like the concept of the platform and the ecosystem, I think it shows like this originality on the thinking of Five9's process.
That's amazing.
Yep.
So I'm going to turn the host on you. So I'm going to ask you.
Oh my God.
Okay, here we go.
Right.
I am going to ask you, what was the biggest reason that you selected Five9 as a partner here? Because you've had so many choices, and and I know your company has been in this industry for a while, but you chose Five9 as a partner going forward here in the cloud. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think there was like two big reasons. The number one was this focus on the cloud, because the other partners that we used to work, they were still like on-premise or hybrid, moving towards. So we needed to have a partner that was like cloud-based. And I always reinforce that, and I said this many times here on the podcast, is that the cloud changed everything. For me, it's the most important technology we've ever built, because the cloud went to entertainment. It completely changed entertainment with Netflix and all the streaming platforms and so on. The cloud got into education. It's completely disrupting education, the Coursera, Udemy of sorts and so on. So whenever the cloud went into an industry segment, it completely disrupted that segment. And I think Five9 is the disruptor, and that was the first mindset.
So multi-tenant in the cloud, not having to spin up this like little instance where you have, it looks like cloud, but it's not cloud.
Yeah.
Having that redundancy, the resiliency, the scalability, all that. So that's a pretty big plus.
Exactly. And the second one was exactly like at the time that MakeOne acquired my company, I was coming as the chief AI officer and bringing all these AI capabilities. So Reynaldo, our CEO, he was like scouting for the platforms, and he realized that Five9 was like the guys that were more top into the direction towards AI, and that's one of his decisions. One of the things that really like moved the needle towards Five9. It was the cloud and AI capabilities.
Nah, that's amazing. And I thought it was just because he knew Armando.
There's a big weight there,
It helped a little bit. Okay.
That's my beautiful story as the chief AI officer.
I like it.
The behind the scenes story is Armando's.
No, and we're honored for it. It's such a great statement when a company selects you and says that you are their partner of choice to go into a market and drive together. And we've had some great conversations. I've known you for a short time, and I feel like we've known each other forever.
It's amazing.
And it really is something that I believe that we're going to propel, and we're going to continue to build great customer-centric customer experience. And as our new CX platform that's transformed by AI and powered by Five9.
Five9, exactly.
Powering MakeOne.
Yes, amazing.
I love it.
And it's reciprocal. We're also very happy to be chosen as like your tier one partner in the region. So it's amazing. Let me finish with that, like very hard question that everybody's doing around AI. You spoke a lot about the empowering the agents and so on, but there's this huge discussion of what is the future of customer service with AIs? You don't need agents anymore. That completely impacts the business. There's this business model around seats and so on. What is your take on that, and how is Five9 preparing for that? And I think that can wrap up the conversation.
That's a really good and a really hard question.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I can answer that in 1 minute, but I will tell you this: is that I firmly believe with the empowerment of agents and of the business and everything, that AI is empowering and supplementing, not replacing. And from what I've heard from our BPO partners, as well as, the financial institutions, as well as, all these companies around the world, that is really what the sentiment is right now, is there is a great opportunity for supplementation, but replacement isn't exactly the way it is. Now, you're going to also supplement it with, virtual agents, so you're going to have a little bit digital with a little bit of live people. But once again, we talked about empathy, the ability to turn on a dime and provide that next level experience. I think we're a ways away from that, but it does bring us a really big market opportunity, because we are on the forefront of AI. Like I said, we have the interchangeable large language model platforms processing all the things that go around it. The jet engines can move around and they could be changing. You never know when that next jet engine, is going to come around and propel the industry even more.
Amazing.
I'll leave you with one story that comes from a customer of ours. They build elevators, okay, and they have call centers to work on when they fail. What he said to me was, well, there are basically two things that people want to know if an elevator stops. Well, actually three. Number one, is it going to fall? Number two, is the air gonna end in the elevator? Number three, when are you coming? And they do not want to hear it from a machine.
Thank you very much. I think you went up there. I give him 1 point for that.
All right, I think we can wrap our conversation in this fashion. It was an amazing talk. Thank you guys so much for accepting our invitation for this podcast session. And for everybody listening, our audience, get transformed by AI, powered by Five9 plus MakeOne. And you're being ahead of the curve in terms of customer experience. I have no questions. Any special mentions?
Muito obrigado.
Oh, that's amazing. Armando, alguma coisa em português aí que você quer deixar de mensagem para o nosso público?
Muito obrigado, um prazer estar com vocês aqui, um prazer continuar trabalhando no Brasil e vamos fazer mais, né? Se você estiver disponível, eu adorei.
Com certeza. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys. Galera, até a próxima.